Previously on the Frontier Farmer. And you'll notice our corn has turned a lovely golden colour. Drill did not work particularly optimal, so I think we are going to sell it. And here it is, the Great Plains. There we go. We are drilling, direct drilling, fantastic. Now I've got to say, I think that drill worked really well, and the rain seems to have subsided. So we can crack on with the corn harvest. Yeah, it's really nice seeing the Neva with its different header and different configuration. I have no idea how this is going to yield, so we'll just see how we get on. And we've got 12,130 litres of corn. And this is going to be lightning quick. But here we go, sugar beets. Yes, can't wait to harvest that. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Frontier Farmer at the Dark Forest. It's now November, and as you can see, the rain is still coming in. It's been a very wet autumn and winter on the homestead, but good news is that we have 2 harvests ready today. Aha, hello Barkamus. Hope you're keeping somewhat dry. You like adventuring in the rain as well. That's right. 2 crops ready to harvest this month. We have sugar beets in field 4 and soybeans in Burfield, and both of those are ready to be harvested. Well, the beets will need to be topped first, but yes, they are ready to harvest. We can crack on with the root harvest this morning, even though it is wet, but the soybean harvest we will have to wait for the weather to clear up slightly later this afternoon. And because we don't have any beet harvesting equipment, we are going to have to purchase something. And the distribution centre has been in touch. They have got some equipment in that is going to help us. So we are going to take a rather wet walk over there to see what they've got for us. Alright, we have made it over here, and I think the rain is starting to ease. The sun is coming through at last, which is good. Right, let's see what we can get by way of beet equipment. So a couple of options have been presented to us. This is the Lizard Z406 Orlick and is a towed beet harvester. It would collect the beets on this ramp here, run it into the cylinder, and then we would deposit into a trailer or onto the ground using this conveyor. Now, slight disadvantage to this, although it is cheap, we would need to have a topper on the front of the tractor. Something like this Lizard Hario Score 1. This is quite pricey for what it is, 16,800. So there is another option available to us, and that is this rather glorious self-propelled Portrait KS6B, which is capable of harvesting both potatoes and beets, and you can control that by the header you attach to the harvester. So this is 150 horsepower, self-propelled as we mentioned, and is 26,000, which, yes, is a fair price I think for having something completely self-propelled. And for headers, we can get this Portrait KS6 sugar beet header, 3.1 meters wide and $4,000. So we are going to get that, and if we ever do potatoes in the future, we can get the header for that as well. The rain has stopped, and it's actually quite a nice bright November now. And here is the delivery of our sugar beet header and our rather nice Portrait root crop harvester. Fantastic. Yeah, looking pretty good. Let's hop in it and see what it's capable of. Fire it up. Very nice. Quick look on the inside, and yes, quite an old piece of equipment, but it's going to suit us just fine, I think. Right, that is the header collected, and we can head on back to the homestead and get our harvesting underway. But first we will need to place a silo that's capable of holding our sugar beet, otherwise we're going to have nowhere to store it. Now this harvester chugs along at a fair 15 mile an hour, not too bad because it's quite a big piece of equipment. And added bonus is it has a lovely beacon flashing on the top, which is grand. So we are going to be placing a cellar, I believe, that is going to be capable of storing our sugar beets and could store potatoes in the future as well, because our current silo, the metal silo to the right, does not hold anything but grain crops. So yes, we will need somewhere separate to store the root crops. And I'm thinking there's a potential gap in the trees up here where we could look to store such a cellar. So we'll leave our harvester running there for just a second, and I'm thinking the cellar is probably a good fit for this little gap here. And here it is, our lovely root crop cellar. And this naturally uses the space underground and the cold of the ground to keep the root crops nice and fresh. It has a kind of ramp here where we can attach it, and this is going to enable us to basically load the sugar beet into the cellar. So I think we can get this set up. There we go. And there we go, there's our little unload point. So we can run along with this harvester once we have got some sugar beets and deposit the beets in here. And I think if we open this up, there we go, we can see where that's going to run to. It's going to deposit all into the cellar in the ground. Oh, there's a few bits in here, a lantern, a bicycle, and a pallet fork, a few bits and bobs, very nice. Close that up. And when we want to take sugar beets out of the cellar, we can attach and fix this conveyor, which comes out of this window here and allows us to collect our root crop, which is going to be needed for when we want to feed our pigs. So back in the harvester we go. Fantastic. And we can probably turn the beacon off. And to the right you can see the soybeans are ready to harvest in Burfield. Look forward to getting onto that this afternoon. But let's set off somewhere over here. We luckily don't need the truck and trailer because we can deposit the beets directly from the harvester, which is good. Okay, so I think I'm going to cut across nice and straight, probably going on this edge because I want to make sure I'm cutting off a nice square area of this field, and it's a little bit wonky, this field. But let's get fired up. There we go. I think it is naturally going to lower the header on the harvester. And we can set off. Let's take a little look. There we go. And it's a bit of a slow process, but yeah, it's quite a big bulky piece of equipment, so we can't operate too fast. There we go. We are harvesting beets. So let's get this all done and deposited in our new cellar. And then we should be good to move on to the soybean harvest this afternoon. Sugar beet harvest done. So lift it up and we can switch off. Luckily this machine is a lot quieter in the cab than outside. It is quite loud. And I can see Thomas has been watching on from the sawmill. I think he's been very impressed with the work that's been displayed here this morning. And that's thanks to our fantastic new root crop harvester. And it's fair to say it's been quite a pleasurable job to do and fairly easy, just driving up and down from side to side really. We've gone from one edge to the other on the return row, and that has worked out quite nicely. And it also has kept the pipe on the right side for getting to the cellar for unloading as and where we've needed to. And we have had to do quite a fair few unloads because the hopper at the rear of the harvester was getting full quite quickly. I think it could take around 10,000 litres from memory. But there we go, that is emptied. And whilst we are here, we can fold the conveyor back in and just hop out to check in on the cellar. And I can see straight away, there we go, 59,418 litres of sugar beets. That is darn impressive from a small field. So yeah, the mighty Fortrit KS6B has done a grand job in its debut. A little bit messy, bits of mud there we'll probably have to wash off. But yes, I think we can get this chute loaded back to the side now because we are not going to be needing it. There we go. And I think we can get this panel put back on to close up the cellar and keep everything nice and cool. And that is going to store that quite nicely. Back in the Fortrit, and we'll try and find somewhere nice to park this up, see where we've got some space. And if we don't have any space, I'm thinking potentially we could put another shed on the other side of that cellar, but there is space next to our IFA there, so I think I'm going to plonk it in there. Let's see if we can back up. Oh, it's a bit hard to see out the back of this. There we go, that is good enough. Shut her down, and I don't think we can go too far back because the chute on this harvester is quite high and it's probably going to touch, oh, it is touching the top of the shed, but that is okay for now. And we are definitely in need of a shed reorg. I am going to hopefully get round to it this winter. Right, we can inspect the soybeans and go and prep the Neva Diva for its harvest. Here we go, some lovely golden, well, brown soybeans that are ready to harvest. 99% yield bonus, so that is going to score well for us. And we will of course need the IFA and the trailer because the silo is a little bit further away than our cellar was, so we will grab the IFA and a trailer so we can unload at the side of the field. There we go, I think that is adequate positioning for our truck and trailer. Let's go grab the harvester. A mighty pile of wood chips here that we will need to do. And I'm thinking at some point over winter I am actually going to make a little enhancement to our wood storage solution. There is something that has come up that will make our life a little bit easier for distributing wood. And behold, the Neva Diva. And sadly I think this is going to be the last harvest of the Neva Diva on the homestead. We did promise a upgrade next time, but I think we will donate the Neva to our settler farm once that gets operational. There we go, we have set up. We do not need the stacker because there's no straw as byproduct from the soybeans. Now I think just to go back and talk about our fantastic new root crop harvester, it is very beneficial and advantageous to have a self-propelled harvester, because that of course means it can do the job itself. It doesn't need any supporting tractors, and the fact that the cellar is close by to that field means there's no truck and trailer needed for unloading either. And it has some rather beefy wheels on the back which make the traction pretty good. But yes, the front wheels are quite small, and the chopper right at the front doesn't seem to be as wide as the harvester at the back of the root crop harvester, so that's quite an interesting setup. I've not really seen anything like that before, but without a doubt it does do a fantastic job harvesting root crops, and potentially that's a call for us to do some potatoes in the future, so we can really make good use of it. Right, I think we'll pop the header trailer probably on this little bend round here, so it's well out of our way and we're not going to run into it. So let's drop that off there. Right, we will pick up the header, and yes, behind the cellar is potentially a little space for us to put a long shed where we could actually store the Fortrit root crop harvester, but we will see. Right, let's get started. I think I'm just gonna get started here. We will of course keep the pipe on the outside for when we need to unload. Soybeans do not harvest as highly or yield as highly as some of our other crops, so that is okay. And oh my gosh, I've seen an absolute flurry of weeds in our stone end field, so we will have to get that sorted today, because we don't want to let those get any taller, because if we do they will be harder to clear, and yes, we will have to spray clear them, and if we leave it any longer the crop will get into the next stage of growth and we will potentially damage it when we do come to spraying. So yes, we will need to see to that next job. But leave the soybean harvest with me and we can get this all collected up. Soybeans harvested, and rather speedily, I might say so myself, and that is nice to have the final harvest of the season and the year pretty complete now. Luckily we've had 2 crops that needed harvesting later on in the year, so it has kept us really busy, because sometimes winter can get a little bit slow if we haven't got jobs like this keeping us busy. So let's get this emptied into the trailer and see how much we have got. It's not going to be huge yields and volumes, but I think it's probably going to keep our pigs well fed with protein for a good while. Right, that's that. We can drop the header off and get the Neva Diva parked up. And yeah, I think we'll probably give it a little bit of a wash and a service, just so it is ready to go to the next frontier farm that the settlers are thinking of building. And I think they did mention that they're going to start to do some of the woodland clearing over winter, potentially using the Liebherr forestry machine that is at the distribution centre. We can pull up here to give the harvester and the header and trailer a quick wash and then carry on for a service at the service trailer. And job done. Another successful harvest, nicely washed and serviced, so that is ready for the next home. And right across here is the sprayer, which we need next, so I think I'm going to jump in the farm hall, give that a good little run, and if my memory serves me well, I think we needed to do another TMR batch for the cows, because yes, the mixing wagon is completely out. so we'll have to see to that at some point soon. Sprayer attached. Let's top it up with herbicide and get stone in field all sprayed. Spraying done, folding up. Managed to do that quite quickly, but did snag the sprayer on a tree when doing the headland, but not to worry, not too much damage to it, so that is good. We'll meander our way out of here, and of course, I completely forgot to come and check how many soybeans we had in the trailer and unload that. So I think what we'll do actually is drop the farm wall off over here and inspect how many oats we have, and we can tidy away the tractor and sprayer later on. Right, let's take a little look, shall we? 4,047 litres. Not too shabby at all. And it's only a small field. Soybeans do not yield the highest out of crops, so that's not too bad. I don't think the pigs use too much. I think it's probably about 20% of their feed ratio protein, so that will do us some good. And of course we have the option to grow soybeans in our open garden, and they seem to flourish that much better, so we could always look to do that. Right, we'll get this unloaded into our brand spanking new silo. Probably a drop in the ocean compared to the capacity that silo can carry. Right, so we'll get the trucker trailer parked up, the tractor and sprayer parked up, and I think the last job for today is probably rolling the soybean stalks, or mulching them I should say, using our mulcher roller, and that should be a very quick job because Fairfield is only small and our roller mulcher is quite wide, so that makes the job nice and easy. And again, the small mulcher, the Matrot, which we used up until getting the roller mulcher, can be donated to the settlement farm once it's constructed. Right, let's do the parking of the tractor and sprayer. Dropped off there. And it looks like the sheep have been making quite a lot of wool. We will have to make a delivery over to the pet accessories over winter. And we'll leave the tractor there ready for the next TMR batch. Into the Kiravets we go. Grab the roller and get the soybean stalks all crunched up. Right, I think that is mulched. It's one of those jobs where you can't really see where you have and haven't been that easily, so we'll have to consult the map. I have missed a little bit, And actually, it looks like we are going to need to lime this field next time. And yes, we will of course need to plough field 3 and 4, which we're looking to merge together next season, because we had planted crops in there, corn in field 3 and sugar beet in field 4. So yes, we will plough that up next season and probably merge the two fields together. But in terms of what we've got growing at the moment, we have wheat in Newfield, our largest field, and barley in Stone End Field, which we've just herbicide sprayed. Right, we can fold away the mulcher because we are done and managed to cover the bits that I missed. This roller mulcher is very good, but it can be a little bit tricky on the smaller fields, negotiating all the tight corners, especially the boundary of the field where the trees like to get in the way. But yes, our bigger fields, it is much more efficient. Right, we don't need to roll or mulch the sugar beet field because there's no stalks from sugar beet, thankfully. But yes, we have 3 fields that are going to need crops in next season. Field 3 and 4, which we're going to merge, and Burr Field, which will potentially look to maybe hold off putting a crop in until Stone End Field is harvested, and then we can merge Burr Field and Stone End Field. We will see. But the plan is field 3 and 4 are going to house our space for the winter fair, which is coming to the homestead and to the dark forest. I think it is planned for next month. I will need to check with the residents of Lake Point, which have discussed with the local town, local city, and yeah, it sounds like we are going to have a tractor run and a sort of farm or tractor fair at the homestead. We are playing host, so that is going to be quite interesting to see, and I think there are some individuals coming from far and wide with their tractors to see what we're doing in the dark forest and just have a little bit of fun. So probably have some stalls to set up and some produce to accumulate so it can be sold and taken back home with them. But yeah, that's all exciting because we've been pretty remote out here on the homestead until we of course built the settlement, Lake Point, and now that's looking to not expand further but potentially get some more notoriety and some more awareness from other towns and civilizations, because we are in touch with potentially doing a tractor run, and maybe that will lead to other events in the future. Who knows? Or maybe it will lead to further growth in the dark forest. We will have to wait and see. But we can get the Kirovets parked up for now because I think our day's work is just about done, and in good time too, because the light is starting to fade. We are of course in winter now, or very late autumn, and yes, the light does begin to fade somewhat. But of course, with winter upon us, we will have all sorts of odd jobs like tending to the animals and getting their various produce bits over to the production zone, riverways. We will also have to start some preparations for our tractor run and tractor fair, which will be interesting. And we might have to monitor some of the forestry work that the settlers have got planned over the winter period to start a settlement farm, which will be very interesting. But that is it for today. Hope you have enjoyed watching. Has been a busy one getting our new root crop harvester, getting the sugar beets in and the soybeans harvested as well. If you have enjoyed, remember to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you've got any tips, tricks or things you'd like me to do, then feel free to leave a comment. But all there's left to say is I hope to see you again next time on The Frontier Farmer. And until then, I'll catch you later. Cheers all. Bye bye.